Well, good evening, magandang gabi, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Well, you know, I did a project today, and when I went to do my editing, I was like, I forgot to do the intro in today's episode. Well, today's going to be a great episode. It's a very interesting thing that I said I was planning on doing a long time ago. And you probably know it has something to do with these little square things, these acoustic tiles. Well, I got a great portion of that project done today, and that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to share my installation of some of the acoustic tiles in our band soundstage area and our movie theater area as well. Let's go ahead and get today started. Now, without further delay, let's get today's episode underway. Now, this is what our soundstage looked like before our modification that we're doing today. It's kind of plain. We got a lot of hard walls, a lot of reflective area that causes a little bit of feedback when we have our band set up. Now, I picked up these tiles here. This is a corner wedge. This is mainly for bass reflection. This will help a lot prevent a lot of the boominess that you would hear normally inside a soundstage, especially with bass guitars. Now, this tile right here, this is more of a decorative tile, but since it is foam, it will help a little bit with our sound. So we have the components, and these are the components that we're going to be using today in our project. Now, I picked up some polycarbonate. This is a 4x8 sheet of polycarbonate. I picked this up at McKilling. I picked up two of these 4x8 sheets. And you can see they're hollow down the center inside here, and they're very lightweight. They are very good material to use to mount your tiles to. Now, how do you mount your tiles? I picked up some of this 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. It's an industrial type of a thing for commercial applications, but it worked good here. And the tape will help keep the polycarbonate boards on the wall. Now, the first thing I did, I measured the width of my corner foam, and I cut out some pieces of the polycarbonate to mount the foam to the polycarbonate. Then the polycarbonate will be mounted to the wall. Now, I'm cutting it a little less than the width of the corner foam pieces because I don't want to see the polycarbonate sticking out. I want a hollow area back there, so all you see is a small air gap, but just enough to keep it nice and straight. Now, I used a circular saw to cut it. It cut very, very easily. And at first I started using all these tools like a square to make sure all my cuts were so even, but I realized later on that it wasn't necessary to use all these real precision cuts because everything is hidden behind the foam. So even if you're off by just a few millimeters, you would never see it because it's hidden. Now, all the polycarbonate comes in this protective plastic. It's good to do all your measurements on this because you can use your marker on here, and then when you get done cutting and you're finished, you just pull off the plastic. Now, this plastic is it's a protective coating, and you don't want to apply your adhesive or your little tape to the plastic. You want to make sure you use the tape directly to the polycarbonate, and that's what we're doing here. Now, I started out today's this project, and I actually realized this tape is very strong, extremely strong. And you don't need to cut really big pieces, so I wasted a lot of. I could have used half the amount that you see that I have here right now. And then I used a little jeweler's precision screwdriver to kind of find the second coating piece of plastic for the double-sided tape. and it was helped out with getting the backing off very easily. So then I positioned the backing up against the wall. Now I did this differently from what the main foam that I used. These I wanted to get the corner pieces in first and then apply the spray adhesive to the foam and then mount the foam, because it's very difficult to get this in place. Doing it the way I did with the big square pieces of foam, it would be hard to actually get inside the corner because of those little adhesive pieces of tape in the background. So this is really easy. I did one at a time, and of course there is a direction. You have to make sure that you do the same direction, because the design of these corner wedges, if you do it opposite, they won't match up. So you have to make sure that you put them in the correct orientation. Now, I will tell you that tape is really strong. I pulled off that section of polycarbonate and it pulled off some of my paint. Okay, now I got the corner wedges in. These are mainly for base reflections. And I actually should have ordered 2 more. I needed 2 more. You see the one that fills inside there and the one that fills inside there. And I could have probably taken the one from the bottom, because you probably don't see that. You won't see that, the one at the bottom. And I could have probably put it inside there. But one of the things that I'm trying to avoid is the feedback caused by the reflection directly behind the amplifiers. So I think I'm going to keep those there, and I think those will help just a little bit. I think that's the best place. The little gap inside there is okay. So the next thing I need to work on are these acoustic tiles as well. Now these aren't as effective as these with the wedges. You see the design, the ones that are like eggshell or have V wedges or pyramid wedges actually work better than these. These are more decorative, but they do help a little bit. And we wanted something that was both aesthetically pleasing inside here, as well as helps with the echo and the feedback. So that's the next project. I got these in. Let me go ahead and start working on these. Now, I applied the spray first. I did a small coat of the 3M adhesive, the spray adhesive, first to the board. Then I applied a little bit more to the back of the foam. You're supposed to wait about 10 seconds before you actually apply it, but you can't wait too long because it'll start hardening on there. So one at a time. I find starting from the center and working your way out works the best, and that's the same if you were putting down tiles inside your house on your floor. You start from the center and you work your way out towards the wall. Then the next thing was to apply the tape, the double-sided tape. Again, I started learning that I didn't need nearly as much. The polycarbonate is very light. The tiles, the foam tiles, are very light, so it's not pulling hard on the double-sided tape. Then the next thing I did here was mounting, making sure that I'm lined up with the existing hole in the wall for the guitars, where I have the holder, and the levelness as well. All right, now I'm happy with the way this came out. So this was my test basis to see kind of how the rest of it's going to run. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do that on this, where this guitar will hang over here, where that guitar will hang over there, where a guitar over there hangs. So that's 1, 2, 3. And I need some space for a removable one in between. Remember, this is the projection wall for our projector to have movie night down here. So I have to make one that doesn't have the little glue pieces on the back. Something that I will probably put a couple anchors in, where I can lift off and put it back on for movie night. And I would like to have one more for over here. I don't think I have quite enough. I keep doing this. I keep under ordering. So 1, 2, 3, 4, a big one, 5, and 6 here. And what I have left over, I kind of laid everything out, is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 over there. So I really don't have enough for the 6 that I want. But I'll come up with something. I'll come up with something. But the main area that has to have acoustic tiles is back here in the band area. So we still need to do something to address any of the reflection of the sound that's hitting the ceiling, because the ceiling will cause a lot of the same problems that we have here. But I think this is going to help out a lot. So let me go ahead and continue. I'm going to take a break for a while. I'm going to come back and I'm going to finish this wall, hopefully tonight, similar to this right here. So now that I have this panel in, and I have the panel done over there on that side, the next thing to do is the panels over in these areas right here. Now I have the television on right now, the projector screen on, because I want to make sure that I don't overlap my panel over into the viewing area of the projector. So what I did, I used some masking tape to mark my areas over here. So I don't want to exceed that. I might even want to go out just a little bit. But the main thing is I'm trying to get a gap that's as close to this gap over here to this gap over here. I might not be able to do that based upon the amount of space I have here. So that's the next thing. I'm working on those panels that will go inside there. I've already cut out the two panels, the polycarbonate panels, to accommodate the acoustic tiles here. And that comes up to 98 inches by 73 inches. And that fits perfectly. Give me enough gap left over so you don't see, because what's important is you don't want to see any of that polycarbonate, but you're going to have a little bit of a gap, and it's an airspace gap like you see right here, and it looks very nice and finished. All right, well, let me go ahead and work on these two panels. I'll mark them, and then we'll mount them, and then we'll work on the next section. Now you're probably asking, what's the best method to line up all your tiles, pull the tiles off, and then get them back on in the same position when you check to make sure everything is lined up properly? Now there's several methods of doing this. You could go and you can get a grid, you could take measurements and you could do it like that, or you can do it a simpler way, which I think is simpler. As I start out with pulling some tiles off. After I have them in place, I know that the edges I have the same amount of space on both ends, both horizontally and vertically. And then what I do is I just take my marker and I go inside and I mark my little box inside of here. I will do a box, and I will do this for every single tile as I pull them off. You make sure you don't bump like I just did on this one right here. I'll do this on every single one. And then once I pull these off, I will actually take a straight edge and I'll go ahead and I'll just follow behind these. So I have a perfectly lined up of this grid inside here. And then what I'll do is when I put the adhesive back, spray the adhesive on, I will just lay these back in the little marked box that I have. And it's worked out very well for all of the panels that I've done so far. Well, there you have it. We got about as much of the acoustic tiles up as we can possibly put in today. I ran out of some of the polycarbonate to do any additional area here, but I only have enough to do a 3x4 section right there, which is 12 tiles. And I'll show you what I was talking about, trying to make sure that we don't interfere with the projector screen. I'll cut off the lights, and as you can see, no issues. We're almost exact on both sides. We framed it in quite well. And by the way, that is the build of our swimming pool in the backyard here in Villa Feliz. It's a time lapse. It's one of the videos if you want to check us out on My PI Dream. Anyway, you can see everything looks good. At least I think it looks good. Again, I need some more materials. I want to do area up in this space here as well to keep the reflections of the sounds from causing interference with our sound stage here as well. Now, before I close today's episode, I know somebody's going to ask the question, how much did this project cost? How much did I invest in the tiles and all the materials that I have here? So I'm going to break that down. I'll also leave links in the description block of today's episode if you're interested in purchasing anything that I showed you today in today's episode. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with some of the materials. And the materials start with the corner. We're going to talk about the little base the Bass Buster corner wedges that we have inside here that are made out of foam. That's made by a company called Tuosi, soundproofing foam, acoustic bass trap corner. And each one of those tiles, I ordered 10 of those, quantity 10. Each one of them were 90 pesos each for an equivalent of 900 pesos. And I'll break all these down when you see this edited later on in dollars versus pesos based on the current exchange rate. Okay, the next item is going to be the big tiles, the purple and the gray tiles that you see on the wall. And that's the ones that we mounted on the polycarbonate sheets. They come in 24 packs, and the sizes of those are 25 by 25 by 5 centimeter. In a 24 pack, each 24 pack sells for 2,020 pesos each. And I bought a quantity of pieces, particular pieces, 72 pieces. I think that was like 3 or 4 packs inside. 6,060 pesos for the tiles that you see, and the extra ones that I have left over. Remember, I have 12 left over that I'll use later on when I get some more materials. So the next item is the adhesive, the spray adhesive. That's 3M Super 77 Classic Spray Adhesive. And I used 1 can. I could probably use the second can because I started going sparingly at the very end. But that one can cost me 724 pesos. I also purchased two 4x8 sheets of the polycarbonate. Picked that up in McKilling, but I looked at the prices all over the place and they're about the same. And it was about 1,500 pesos for each sheet, so I paid 3,000 pesos, approximately 3,000 pesos for 2 of those 4x8 sheets of the polycarbonate. And the last item that I had for this project was the 2-sided sticky tape, and that's what I used on the back of the polycarbonate to mount it on the wall so I don't do damage. No drilling any holes inside our wall here. And that sold for a whopping P87 pesos for a 3-meter strip of that. And I didn't use all of that. I still have some left over on that project. Now, if you haven't already got your calculator and calculated how much all this is, let's look and see what the total price is. So we need a drum roll. And that's my drum roll. Sorry about that. I'm not a drummer. Anyway, so for the total price of this, it came out to be in pesos, 10,771 pesos, or in US dollars equivalent, approximately $224 based on the current exchange rate. Well, that's it for you guys. That was my project today. I hope you enjoyed today's project. I had a lot of fun with this, and I will let you know I ordered some more of the tiles because we're going to do the ceiling. Although I can already hear it's quieter here, I can still hear a little bit of echo and reflection on the roof above me, and that'll make a big difference for our sound stage right here, as well as when we are using this for our home theater and our little movie, for our movie night here inside the basement of Villa Feliz. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little MPID dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed and notified the next time I upload a new video. So until such time from right here in the Philippines, sorry, again, I'm not a drummer, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you're interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.